Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today. Hi, Hemie, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you about your book. It seems like chock full of lots of magical things. So today I'm with Hemie Yao, and she is the author of, I don't want to get this wrong, The Untold Truth of Club Mission. Is that how you pronounce it?
Munshan, but other than that, you nailed it.
Munchen, The Mission. So this is the first book in, I think, a series, right?
Yeah,
Okay, you want to jump in and tell me about the book?
sure. So my book turns thousand-year-old Chinese mythology to life. It's about an Italian girl named Cassidy Giuliano who grows up in China. Strange things keep on happening to her, but she's trying to figure it out. Until eventually she finds out that her new school's been hiding a secret from humanity for centuries. What the school does is it's a training center for Munshan called Door Gods. The goal is to protect the gates from evil, and now she has to train with them. But it's a little hard for her because she's the only human and Caucasian in the entire school. But other than that, the story goes on and more subplots develop that will come back later in the series. So now we're at the point where she has to join the mission to save another Munshan. And but the only way to do that is to overcome her fears of danger and being a burden to her friends. But that's a little hard since she's at a significantly lower skill level since she's a human. I won't say too much more because I don't want to spoil the book.
Okay, so the other students, are they gods or what are they? Or just
So basically they're kind of kids who are blessed at a young age from gods, basically.
okay. And so how did she end up in this school?
I can't talk about that because that's
Also a spoiler there.
yeah.
Fun. Where did the inspiration come from?
My inspiration comes from Rick Rhoden, who published the Percy Jackson series.
Oh, I love that series. Yeah, I'm seeing some parallels, I guess, with the mythology. Have you always read about Chinese mythology, or did you do a lot of research?
So I actually knew nothing about Chinese mythology until I did got the idea for this book. So then I just started researching and then eventually just added on and on to the story.
Is Munshin a? Can you describe what that is?
So in my book and in Chinese mythology, it's a little different. In Chinese mythology, there's only two door gods who protect a certain goddess that I can't remember the name of. In my book, they're kids who've been blessed by gods to help protect gates. So there's like a kind of a similarity there.
Okay, so all the kids in the school are the
Yeah.
Munshin, right? And Cassidy is just coming to the school new, has no clue. Do the other kids know what they're doing there?
Yeah, the other kids have known since they started there, but
Okay,
Cassie doesn't.
right. But it's a secret to like the rest of humanity
Mm,
that this whole thing is going on.
yeah.
And what did you set the book in a real life city?
Yeah, it's takes place in Shenzhen. It's kind of south of China.
Okay. And have you been there before?
No, my mom has a friend who lives there who sent us beautiful pictures of the place, but I've never been there.
Oh, neat. Have you been to China at all?
Yeah, I have. I was really little then, so I don't remember too much.
Yeah, I haven't been most of the places I write about either. So I just look on the internet, look at all the pictures, and have to imagine it in my head. How long did it take you to write this book?
It took me 2 years.
Wow, that's amazing. And you said you were inspired by Percy Jackson's series. How
Yeah.
did you come up with the idea to set it in China, in Chinese mythology, and this character in particular?
So I wrote about Chinese mythology because of my heritage. I'm half Caucasian and half Chinese.
Neat. And you made the character Italian. Was that any purpose there, or is that something we can't know either?
There's a bit of purpose, a tiny bit right there that I
Okay,
can't talk about.
fine. Um, so can you tell me more about the series and what you plan for the series?
Yeah, so basically throughout the series, I hope for there to be lots of plot twists, emotional moments for the characters, and character growth as well. There's a really big moment at the end that's really huge, and I'm excited to write that part.
Fun. And remind me the age of these characters. I'm guessing it's a YA, right?
Yeah, it's some like in the borderline between the two.
YA and adult. So
Oh
what?
no, YA and like middle grade.
Middle grade. Okay, so they're like 13-ish,
Yeah, they're
maybe.
13.
Okay, 13. So sort of on the cusp between that.
Yeah.
Fun. And did you always want to write?
From an even younger age, I wrote small stories here and there that I never really got to finishing. But once I got the idea for this, I kind of stuck with it and I kept pushing myself to finish it because I was so in love with this idea.
And did you know anything about publishing? I mean, I think you're self-published, correct?
Yeah, I'm self-published.
Very cool. Congratulations. Did you know anything about publishing before that?
Absolutely nothing. No, I didn't know anything.
So did you teach yourself everything?
Kind of, yeah. I had to search up what to do and like this stuff that came naturally, like, oh, I have to get a book cover, of course.
Right. And tell me about the cover. I really love the art.
So I have it with me right now.
Oh, great.
And so the scene in this is kind of they're in a storm and there's a god here that's trying to help them. It's actually my favorite scene in the book because it's their first real encounter of danger as a group.
Well, that's neat. So it kind of sounds like the kids have to use maybe their different abilities to help each
Yeah.
other and solve this problem. So you have, it sounds like maybe you have a lot of like interaction between the characters. What are the other main characters in the book? Or who are the other main characters in the book?
So besides Cassidy, there's her four friends, Lou, Bo, Ben, and Ling Ling.
And do they each have different powers?
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically how the story works is that all the Munchun have the chance to get different types of like kind of lowered down of the god's abilities, like significantly like not as powerful, but they have an advantage in the fields where whatever god blessed them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what's going to be my question. So certain gods bless certain kids, and then
Yeah.
that determines which powers or which abilities they get,
Yeah.
right? Oh, neat. Very cool. And so in the book, do you list out the names of the gods that come from Chinese mythology? So when we're reading this, are we learning about Chinese mythology?
Yeah, definitely. In the very end of the book, I have a glossary of all of the names in Chinese mythology and gods and mythical creatures.
Oh, that's very cool. That's a good add-on because I would have to keep going back and forth when I was reading the book. So tell me about the rest of the series. What is your plan?
So I don't know if I can talk much about it, but I can definitely tell you that it'll be worth the read because it'll be very exciting.
Cool. And when is the second book coming out?
It's coming out in April of next year.
Oh, fun. Well, that's great. You already have that planned out. And do you have a title for that one yet? Then you can tell us.
Yeah. It's called The Untold Truth of Club Munchun, The Ancient Text.
Okay. So the first one is the mission, and this one is the ancient, or the second book will be the ancient text.
Yeah.
And how do you write? Do you plan it out before you start writing? Do you have very detailed notes or structure, or do you kind of wing it?
So what I do is I have a clear goal of where I want the scene to go, what I want them to accomplish, and then I wing out the rest of it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's kind of how I write. I get bored if I know everything that's going to happen. So I like to leave like a little creativity in there.
Yeah.
Do you mind me? You look really young. So do you mind me asking how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 13 years old.
You're 13 years old and you published this book.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I am like, I thought, oh, she's probably, maybe she's 18. No, okay, you're 13 and you did this. Wow. So did you have adults helping you or did you just like go for it and do it yourself?
So I finished the first version by myself, and then my mom helped me editing it and editing it over and over until we finally got the final draft.
Right. That is amazing that you took two. Okay, so you started writing when you were 11,
I started writing when I was 10.
when you're 10, and you're
Yeah.
starting writing this book when you were 10. That is so impressive. Like, and so you said, but before this, you just wrote some like short stories.
Yeah.
Neat. That is so amazing and impressive. Like, I didn't start writing till I was 40 years old, but I didn't think I wanted to be a writer. So how do you think your writing has changed through this experience and through the editing experience?
So since I started writing at 10, I had a lot to improve off of. So with the help of websites, teachers, parents, and other people's feedbacks, I learned how to structure scenes, build up conflicts, character arcs, and eventually in the end, for example, I could turn like a scene full of filler into something that was actually impact the story.
Oh, neat. That is so. Not only did you research Chinese mythology, but you researched and studied how
Yeah.
to write plot, characters, scenes, all of that as well. That is super exciting and super inspirational, I have to say. Yeah. I feel like not worthy at this moment. Very cool. Did you at any point think you would quit?
There were like slow points where I got over like the initial rush of it and it kind of slowed down, but I eventually started to pick up again and continue writing it.
And do you find like any certain schedule helps you do that?
Yeah, so I probably start after my homework and just try get somewhere around 500 words a day.
Yeah, I find if I write every other day, it keeps me going because then I don't have to like go back and read what I wrote to remember where I am and how I need to move forward. So
Mm.
neat. That is very cool. And so do you see, I mean, you have a 4 book series planned, right?
Yeah.
And do you see you continuing that? I mean, you're like,
Um, I think after the fourth book, I'm gonna be done with this series. I have already have another idea for a different series after this one, though.
is it frustrating? Are you sort of working on that one too, or is it frustrating to just
Um,
wait?
I'm kind of just like connecting like random ideas I get at different times to like, oh, this idea can be used in the future for the next series.
Oh, fun. Very fun. Well, I'm super excited to have you here today. Was there anything else you wanted to tell us about you? And
Um, that you can find me at Hemie Yao on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
great. Yes, they will definitely be all the links to your books and your social media. And do you run your own social media too? Like that is that is so fun. That is so cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. I definitely am going to pick up your book and read it because I like mythology too. I guess 2 years ago, I published a book. It's the Aztec mythology, but I didn't really get that much into like all the different gods. There was just one god. So, super respect for all the research and learning you've done and just super excited to see how this uh, series grows for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'll have you back next time when you publish the second book. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.